Hi everyone, my name is Bella,
My name's Alex.
and today we are going to be talking about two books, Americanized, Rebel Without a Green Card by Sara, Saedi.
I'll be talking about The Distance Between Us by Reyna Grande.
And before we start, just to clarify, there are going to be major spoilers.
For sure,
in
read the
this
books
video.
first, please.
Yeah, please read these books. They're awesome books. I mean,
For sure.
I think so. And if you've been on Booktube often, you should know that spoilers are a part of it.
So let's jump right into it, I think.
Let's start. So, we're going to start off with Americanized, Rebel Without a Green Card, which from now on is just going to be referred to as Americanized. It is more of a memoir than any sort of actual novel. There are no made-up characters, no fictitious events. It is solely based on events that took place in the author's life. Additionally, it's not even in a linear storytelling fashion. She jumps between so many periods of her life, from the moment she found out she was an undocumented immigrant to the time she had trouble controlling her unibrow, fights she had with her sister, and misconceptions on Iranian culture, which, by the way, it's Iran, not Iran. She makes a point to say that. So, overall, it was a really great book, dealt with a lot of themes on immigration. Wasn't really the highlight of it, though, but all in all, it still really sent the message across. How about your book?
The Distance Between Us by Reyna Grande is her memoir. It chiefly documents her early childhood years living in Mexico with her grandmother. Her father left shortly after she was born to go to the United States to get a job to fulfill his dream of owning a house. And that leaves just the three of them, Reyna and her two siblings, Mago and Carlos, along with their mother, in Mexico to sort of live while their father is in America working. But eventually her mother has to leave too to go to America. And that leaves just the three siblings left with their grandmother, who is not a very nice person, unfortunately. They have a fairly tough life in Mexico. And this sort of situation goes on for a few years while their parents are in America working, until eventually they both make their way back to Mexico, not at the same time, as they're now separated. And the children go back to America with their father, and that comprises the second half of the memoir, them sort of adapting to American life. It's deeply moving, and it focuses pretty heavily on the toll that it takes, the toll that immigration takes on family. So I think we're kind of ready to talk about the books together now.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So what did you think?
I mean, I really enjoyed this book. I liked it a lot. It wasn't what I was expecting, if I'm being honest with you. I thought it was going to be more of like a plot with novel and characters and, you know.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually didn't know that my book was a memoir until a few chapters in. I was like, this is set up a little weird. But I think that Reyna Grande does a really good job of narrativizing her life.
Yeah, I think that's why it made it super easy to read, because it was easy to read for me, at least Americanized was. I really enjoyed it because it felt like she was talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was just so casual and like the topics she brought up and how she brought it up, and she was just like clever, she was funny,
mm-hmm.
She'd like interject jokes and a bunch of pop culture references that just made me feel like I was sitting talking to like a teenage girl.
Mm-hmm. Right. My book had, I think, a more serious tone.
Okay, yeah.
She was very accurate and very realistic about her like early childhood years. It was very moving. She's a very almost lyrical writer.
Ooh.
It's very lyrical. It's very serious tone, but it's also very like relatable in a sense. So like obviously I didn't like grow up impoverished in Mexico, and like I didn't live her life experience.
Yeah.
But the way she was able to write was she was able to find some of the things that were very common and like just sort of a core human experience, and relate those in such a way to her audience that it felt really natural, and really it helped me relate a lot to the characters.
That's nice, because from what you're saying, it felt like it was a heavy book, but it wasn't too heavy. Like there were bits and moments of like relief that just like kept you
For sure, yeah. She was very good about pacing. I never felt like emotionally fatigued about reading this heart-wrenching story. You know, it felt like a good pace. and it felt very honest to her story.
Well, what do you think the message of the book was?
Yeah, so I think the book focused a lot on the toll that separation has on a family. One of the recurring themes in this book was sort of how was Reyna feeling about her mother, today? How was she feeling about her mother after she left?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of what sort of image had she built up of her father after he had left? Because she lived several years, I think almost 8, without her father.
Yeah.
And she only had a picture of him. And so there are many parts in the book where she refers to her father as the man behind the glass, right?
Oh.
And then later when she actually meets her father,
Mm-hmm.
It's a very poignant scene where she sort of realizes, like, this isn't the man behind the glass who I've been sort of projecting on.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not what I've been seeing in my head, or what I thought the man was going to be like.
For sure. So, what about your book? Was it heavy on family, do you think? Or
not in the slightest.
Really?
I mean, I felt connected to her family. I felt that the choices they made were just so justified. Like, there's this one part that, it was so funny. She talks about how she always wanted to be like her big sister, how Sara always wanted to be like her big sister. And her sister was popular, she was cool, she was energetic, like, she had so many friends, she'd go out all the time.
Right.
And the author was always so, I guess, interested in how her sister didn't seem to be truly scared by the fact that they were undocumented for so long.
Interesting.
Like it didn't stop her sister from doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
In, like, one of the scenes, she writes about how her sister went on a spring break trip to Mexico in high school with her friends, and obviously her parents did not know any of this. I mean, sorry, parents, you know now. But she talks about how her sister knew she didn't have any papers and was going across the border of Mexico, even though she wasn't Mexican. She's Iranian. Was going across the border of Mexico to go on vacation, and her sister was like, what if they ask to see your papers?
Yeah.
What if they ask you for your social security? Why if they ask you for, like, your passport? And, I mean, in the end, her sister returned safely back after their trip. Nothing occurred. But the author was she was so terrified the entire time her sister was gone.
Yeah, I think I would be too.
Yeah, because the reality of deportation, the reality of being discovered is true for them. It's not just, oh no, I'm going to get in trouble for going to Mexico and not telling my parents. It's, oh no,
I might be stuck in Mexico.
I might have to leave
Yeah.
the country. And that was a really great part. There's this one metaphor that I personally, as an immigrant, do relate to, where Sara talks about feeling like a spork.
Okay.
I know.
Sport.
Right, a spork. Think about it. She was like, I am neither just Iranian or just American. She's like, at this point in my life, I am both. There is no distinguishing one from the other with me. And I really like that idea. Because, one, sporks are unique. I personally have never bought a spork. Is that something you buy?
I think it's something that they give you in a lunchroom
given to you? Okay.
when you're in elementary school.
But I can see how that metaphor played so much in her life. Like, she has two things, but both parts of her make her
better. I'd like
better.
to apologize to our listeners real quick who regularly buy sporks. You're valid.
I'm sorry. But, no, it really was. Like, she had a lot of clever things just littered in all of her chapters, and she was funny. She was lighthearted.
Yeah. So that's interesting. It seems like there are two very different experiences, or obviously there are more than two very different experiences when it comes to immigration.
Yeah.
And so it's good that these books are sort of giving us a wide take on a lot of different experiences.
Oh, definitely, 100%, because it shows you that it's not just poverty-stricken and just all
For sure.
struggle.
Which was the distance between us, for sure. It was all struggle.
And it is. There is that. But it's also on the other side. They're your neighbors. They're your family. Like, they're your family. Sorry, Booktube. Of course they're your family. They're your neighbors. They're your friends. They're your teachers. That's better. They're people.
Okay. Shocking.
They are just people. And
This just in.
They are just trying to be happy and live their lives and be successful. And I think that's what we really have to remember from all of these discussions.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm glad I ended up reading this book. I think it was very helpful.
Yeah, and I'm glad I ended up reading this one.
We heartily recommend it to you guys. these books are phenomenal.
Yeah, and thank you again for coming and watching. We really hoped you liked this discussion.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. Smash that like button.
Let us know what you think.